Hi guys, and welcome to our business vlog. I'm Paul and he's Calvin.
Hi guys.
So in today's video we're going to be focusing on teaching you what are some of the things that you need to do before you start your business, right? So we're going to be focusing on like doing your research, planning your finances, and a whole lot of other things. So do make sure that you stay tuned. So the other thing that we're also focusing on our videos is that we want to build a community with you guys, a community of entrepreneurs, of people who are passionate about business. So it is also important that we engage with you. So from the previous video on finances that we posted, if you haven't watched it, make sure that you watch it. Ntabiseng asked a question around finances. So she said that she wants to she's been applying for tenders for her business. So should she get the tender, is it advisable for her to go to her bank even though her check record is not good? Like, would that be the actual tender documents be good enough for her to actually get a financial loan from a bank?
Okay. Sure, Ntabi. Yo, talk about shooting for the stars. And here we are starting from 0. You want to start at 10. So yeah, Ntabi, with tenders it's slightly different. Here on Brantegy, what we focus on is basically startup businesses. So basically from 0 to 100, that's where we are.
And beyond.
Yeah, and beyond. So and where you want to go is from 50 to 1000.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that, but with tenders it's slightly different. So whereas a bank, when you approach a bank asking a bank for funding, they'll mainly look for what's this
Track record. Yeah.
Yes, and whether you guys have experience as directors, and how's your bank statements looking like, and do you have collateral to to give to the business,
So do you suggest that they rather actually go to a venture capitalist to apply, for funding?
Yeah, there's many venture capitalists out there. I think NEF, National Empowerment Fund, is one of them. So they're a bit more easier in terms of rules and regulations in terms of applying, because they more experience in the business.
The tender documentation to show them, they can actually just say, okay, fine.
Yeah, and in these tender documents, the key thing you're looking for is the letter of appointment. So in this letter of appointment, it will be stating that you, Ntabi XYZ, have been appointed to start this contract from this date to this date, and your tender amount is this amount. So with that, it gives them more reassurance that you're able to pay to repay the money. So in terms of who to go to first, I would advise venture capitalists, because they're more understanding and much more experienced in that field. So, and in terms of getting that whole letter of appointment, there's something called a bidding document. So there's like a huge bidding document that you'll have to kind of put together for the tender. So,
but I'm sure she understands, because she's already been applying. So I think her issue is just like, should I get this? What is it that I need to do? So Ntabi, we hope that we were able to help you, and anybody else also had a similar question. We hope that we were able to help you. So guys, if you have any business question, make sure that you send us a WhatsApp on the number that's appearing on the screen. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for our subscribers. We truly appreciate your support.
And thank you for the question, guys. Thank you for the questions. We love engaging with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So let's jump right into today's video. Okay guys, so like we mentioned that on today's video we're going to be teaching you what are some of the things that you need to do before you start your business. So number one is do your research.
Sure, research is one of the biggest flaws that a lot of entrepreneurs fail to do out there. Yes, we've been there, Mpo and I and myself and you. We've been there where we actually wake up one day feeling like we're billionaires due to this one big idea which we've never seen it go sideways. So research, the beauty about research is that we can actually see other people's mistakes. So and we can actually see who's actually doing your business out there, if you're actually the first person to actually invent whatever you're inventing. So on my side, what I would actually say, it benefits you on is actually knowing your consumer. So you're actually able to actually pick up on patterns. So they're buying patterns and things like their pain points. So these are the things that you can actually solve and put in your business plan later on. We'll show you in terms of how that works. So, and then the second one there, you can actually come up with innovation. Because right now, if you're not reinventing the wheel, innovate it, you know, so rather add on to what's currently out there.
And you can only know that through research, right?
Through research, yes. So yeah, in terms of my side, I think those are the main key points I just wanted to highlight. I'm not sure about what she would like to add. Yeah.
Okay, so from my side, in terms of research, I'd advise you that you do your market research, right? And that can be something as simple as setting up a survey and sending it to your potential customers. So what you would have, the type of questions that you would have in there would include like the demographics as well as the psychographics. Now the demographics are basic, right? Like it would be something like the person's age, their age group, their ethnic
What are you saying about my age?
Their ethnic group. No, because you're not tailor make this right for your specific audience, because that's what you're trying to build with the market research. So it's the demographics and the psychographics. I want to emphasize on the psychographics because those are like your preferences, the person's habits. Because in today's age, people don't really worry a lot, like you said, like about age and all of those things, but they want to know that you personalize and customize their products to them, like tailor make it for them. So you want to actually make this perfect persona or your ideal customer. Yeah. So that's what you want to know with your market research. The other thing that I would advise you to research is your competitors, right? Because you've got like sometimes you have like your direct competitors. You have people selling the same product or the same service as you. So what keeps somebody from buying from those people as opposed to coming to you? So be woke, guys. Know what your competitors are doing. Study their strengths and their weaknesses. And it's easy to get people's weaknesses, right? You can just check out on their reviews for, what are people complaining about and stuff like that. So from there onwards, you can make your own unique selling point to say that, oh wait, my competitor is selling this and I'm selling this, but I've got this unique thing that I'm delivering because they are weak on it and I'm strong on it. So that is it on research. Number 2 is do your business plan.
So guys, in terms of today's vlog, we're not going to go step by step in terms of what's the business plan, what needs to be in there.
We'll probably have a separate video actually that takes people step by step on what is to enter a business plan.
Yeah, so in today's video, we actually sat down and kind of ruled out all the technical ones and what could be helpful to you. So the first one is in terms of your financial statements. The biggest thing in your financial statement is cash flow. So when you're projecting cash flows, try to be realistic as possible. And the other thing is that cash flow can actually help you, not to say predict, but to actually foresee challenges before they actually happen. Yeah. So a cash flow statement is actually helpful in terms of that. So you don't lose money. You actually gain money without making money, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so and then the other thing is that you're able to set achievable goals. So milestones. So you can say in 1 month you want to be here, 10 months here,
short term,
2 years, 5 years, exactly. So in terms of my side, I think those are the 2 things that I just wanted to highlight to you guys. Yeah.
Cool. So from my side, my advice would be if you want to apply for funding at a financial institute like a bank, or you want to ask for funding from an investor, you need to actually sit down and do a proper lengthy business plan. I know it's boring, but it's important because there are specific sections that bankers as well as investors look for in their business plan. And that's easy, right? Like Google is there. Just look for a proper template and follow it to do your proper business plan. On the other hand, I have good news for people who do not want to apply for funding elsewhere. In other words, you're going to fund yourself or you're going to ask a friend or a family member to help you out. just write a one-page business plan, right?
Easy money, guys. Easy
you know
money.
So just do the one pager. You can either do the business, use the business model canvas, or just the one pager that includes your mission, your vision, your objectives, your pricing strategy, your promotion plan, and that's it. So you keep refining it as you go. Don't waste time if you don't need like a lengthy one. Just start and then you keep refining it as you go. So that's it for do your business plan. And number 3 is plan your finances. So Calvin, what advice do you have for people to plan their finances before starting a business?
Okay, so in terms of planning finance, this is like another 5-hour tutorial. If we had to dive into it.
It's very important.
So one of the things that I would advise you is that finding funding. So basically, with finding funding, you'd have to structure your proposal in such a way that your financials are in order. Number 2, they need to be realistic. Hint. I hope you're getting the hint. And so in terms of...
What do you mean they need to be realistic?
So sometimes you'll find entrepreneurs that he's a small business. So when he gets there, he'll get quotations for material or products that will only be used later, 50 years or 10 years down the line. So whereas you just want a small printer, you'll go out and say you're looking for the best printer that does 50 pages an hour, and of which it's wrong. Because most of your capital gets tied up into these big assets that you don't need the use of at that moment. So that's what I'm trying to get to there. So and I think that's the biggest one I wanted to highlight there in terms of finding funding. In terms of planning your finances.
Okay, so from my side, in terms of planning your finances, what I'd advise you do is that just take a page, like a spreadsheet, and then on the left, list all your startup costs. So those are the things that you're gonna need to do before, like your once-off expenses. And then on the right, write all your ongoing expenses, things like your utilities, water and electricity. You're gonna be paying that every month, your rent, people's salaries, the supplies, all of those things. Write them on the right, and that amount multiplied by 12. In other words, you want to get on average for a year, how much you're going to need to keep your business going, and then add those 2 amounts, meaning the ones on the left and the ones on the right, add them together, and then you have a rough estimate of how much you really need, because it's important to have the startup capital and also to know how you're going to maintain it for at least for a year. And like Calvin then has mentioned that then after you know how much that is, then start looking for your funding at different institutions. So that's the one option. The other option that I have is something called bootstrapping. This is when you focus on a minimal viable product. And like he's also mentioned, I'm adding on his points to say that you can look at your entire budget and your expenses that you have planned. For example, if you look at your marketing costs, there's no need to overspend on marketing when you're starting off. You can use free things like Facebook, Instagram, or if you maybe your business is on want a certain expensive software, just look for open source software. Look for free things and look for cheaper things. You can even buy second-hand things just to start your business, and then you can continue growing it.
So as Mpo has touched here, guys, the other thing here, I think what Mpo was highlighting, I would just also like to take out is budgeting and costing. So in terms of budgeting and costing, it's one of the biggest tools that's used out there in the finance industries to actually prepare for the worst. So a lot of entrepreneurs go bankrupt, and this is usually because it's they run through their cash quickly due to lack of planning, like you say, or they just over indebted. So also when you're looking for funding, guys, try use as much as possible of your own money, because when you start using somebody else's money and you run through it very quickly, you're gonna find yourself in the same spot too that you started at. So
like we said, guys, this can be a very long video, so that's it on finances. We'll create a separate video just on a detailed one just on finances. So number 4 is licenses and permits. Guys, these things can take a very long time, so it's important that you start doing your research, because there are different kinds of licenses and permits for different kinds of business, right? So before you even go into the business, find out just on Google where you can apply for those things, how long they take, so that you can start the process before you start. Because the last thing you want is to start operating and then you have inspectors coming in to check whether you've got trading licenses and all the other obviously specific licenses for the business that you have started, and they can actually tell you to close the business if you don't have those permits and licenses. So it's important that you find out what kind of permits and licenses you need.
Yeah. So with how Mpo highlighted, I think some of the few licenses that are out there is your fire licenses. So with your fire licenses is in case maybe you're cooking and you're using flames of some sort, and then the other licenses you're looking at is air pollution license. Yes, there are air pollution licenses out there. I know it's hard to believe, but it's just there just to like regulate the industry and the environment and CO2 that's in the air.
Because there are other like very technical businesses that produce a lot of carbon dioxide and all the other oxides. I don't know them, but they are really harmful for the environment. So it's important that that is also regulated.
Yeah. So like how Mpo was saying, so I think, and the other one is health and safety. So basically, if you have a shop, basically how clean it is. There's no rats, there's no cockroaches, there's no expired food on the floor. So health and safety is basically that. So the inspectors come in, check if you're up to date, if the shop is clean and there's no expired foods on the floor. Yeah. So in terms of, I think that's in a nutshell the few licenses I can give to you guys. Yeah.
So do make sure that you do your research with the kind of business that you're starting to know what kinds of permits and licenses are needed. So number 5 is do your marketing plan, right? Or your promotional plan. So my advice would be that when you plan your promotional plan, make sure that it aligns with your business goals, right? So I'll give you an example. When you're starting a business, the first few months you just want people to like know about your business. You just want to be out there. So make sure that your marketing plan aligns with the business goal of saying, I want people to know who I am, right? Because they don't know you. But then after those few months, what you would then be wanting to do is that you want to retain those customers. So you need to relook your marketing plan again and make sure that now the goals are now aligned to you actually trying to retain your existing customers or your existing clients. Obviously also as well as still growing your business. So that's a key thing in terms of promotional plan. Another thing is to actually know your audience, right? Your specific target market, and that you would have done for step 1, right? When you're doing your market research. So it's important to know like your ideal customer, so that when you do marketing, you know exactly who this person is, and you can kind of like customize and personalize the marketing towards the person. What would you advise?
You know, just to add on what Mpo was saying, I think with me, I'm more focused on tools. So the tools that are out there is, I think where people are mistaking tools is that certain types of businesses align with certain types of tools.
Yeah,
so
tools.
Radio necessarily doesn't work for a farmer. You know what I'm saying? So, and Facebook doesn't work for a supermarket. So these things, sometimes there's different platforms out there, so you can still do the whole billboards and the whole posters and traditional ways of marketing. And then there's also the latest ways where there's Facebook, Instagram, vlogs, what else is out there?
Blogs also.
Blogs, Twitter, you know, there's other platforms, but you just need to align in terms of what your business is in and
what
where
is the most important channel to use.
Yeah, so that's what I would just like to highlight there.
Just to give you real life examples, we all know the young lady, the 25-year-old Snail Tembu, who started her own law firm. I think it's called Pascara and Partners. So she did that from experience, right? Because if you think about it, she did her degree for 4 years at UKZN. She went on to do 1 year of articles at a law firm. She literally wrote 4 board exams after that, and she
Talk
passed.
about brains, guys.
You know, people are smart out here.
Yeah.
So she passed all of them, and then she applied obviously to the High Court, and then she qualified as an attorney. So you could say that she used the experience from the school, the board exams, and also from the actual law firm. So she has that experience, but she also had like 2 side hustles as a makeup artist, and she also had, I think it's an events company. I just need to double check, but I know she had 2 side hustles. So she basically had like both law experience as well as business experience, and then she combined all of that to start her own law firm.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
Do you have anything on people starting their businesses from passion?
So in terms of passion, I think the people, there's quite a few of them. So I know Bill Gates is up there, but the guy that also stood out for me that I didn't know he started from passion, it's Walt Disney. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Mickey Mouse. So if you're not, I don't know what planet you're from. Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of Walt Disney, he's basically a talented drawer. So back in the days, he used to draw and sell his drawings on the sides of the road until somebody's like, hey man, why don't you actually do this professionally, or even if it's not professionally, try to start your own business through drawing. So back in the days, you can imagine in the late 1900s, he was like, okay, well, oh my word, where do I go? How do I start this? So he eventually started drawing animations. So like your cartoon characters and all of that. So before he stumbled upon Mickey Mouse, he started a couple of animation companies. So guys, don't give up hope. He started quite a few.
Do not give up.
Yeah. So and then eventually he drew Mickey Mouse and he did an animation through Mickey Mouse, and then bam, it boomed.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is so awesome. So guys, it is doable to start both your business from passion and experience. So the other example that I have of somebody who actually managed to start a business from experience, her name is Lebogang Chaga. So she has a diverse experience from consulting companies, the best consulting companies. One being KPMG, the second one is Accenture, the third one is Deloitte. So she worked from all of those three companies. And she's also traveled a lot, right, through work and also personally. So I know that she's traveled in all the neighboring countries of South Africa.
The furthest I've ever been, to be honest, is the Val.
Yeah, she also traveled to like your Mauritius, Uganda, Dubai. So she has also that experience of, cross-border experience. So she used all of that experience to start her own consulting company called Afro Visionary Legacy. Do you have another example of somebody who started their own business from passion?
Yeah, I think the other example that I do have is a guy called Brian Aldrich. I hope I'm not butchering his name. So this guy, he's the founder of Rocco Mamas.
Yay, I love Rocco Mamas.
This one is a bit different because how he started Rocco Mamas, or where Rocco Mamas came about, was all through a car accident. After the car accident, he just started thinking and imagining, and it came from there. I don't know what that car accident is. So guys, if you've been in a car accident, I'd advise you to start dreaming. So yeah, so through these dreams or these visions that you would have, he started getting things like, he got the feel of the place, the mood, the music. If you walk in, the feel you have to feel when you get in there, the scent, the burgers and all of that. He's no professional chef. This all just came after a car accident. Yes.
He made his dream into a reality, guys. So it is doable. So let's jump right into our news.
Okay, so welcome to the news, guys. So in today's news, we'll be focusing on two headlines that made it in the last couple of weeks. So the first one is that you all know that we moved to level 3 of the lockdown. So Cyril Ramaphosa in this article, so he was actually highlighting that he's a bit worried of the amount of infections that have been going up.
Yeah.
So he was
all worried.
yeah. So what he was saying in this article was that, are companies ready to take in employees? So, and he said, guys, if you don't have the correct protocols, don't let employees come back. So yeah, so I'm not sure what's your take on that. So basically, in a nutshell, what Ramaphosa was getting to in this article is that people that are over the ages of 60 years old, or that have underlying illnesses like diabetes, heart-related diseases, or TB, they were suggesting that those people should stay home. So on the other hand, I'm not too sure how companies would cope financially in terms of all these new protocols from sanitizer and what do you call this? Masks providing for employees. I'm not sure what your view would be on that. If you were a company,
You know what?
right now, yeah.
It's a tough one because it really just depends also like where you are in your business. As you know, you have like your big companies, maybe who literally have like budget for like emergencies and stuff like that. So maybe they might be able to like take people back to the office, and then you might be able to buy out of those things. Even though we've seen that in the market, people are even retrenching even the big companies who like we trust. So it's a bit tricky. So you can imagine if big companies who are more organized than like your starter, somebody who's just starting up a business, didn't like really prepare for like emergencies. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. It's really tough to be with Cyril Ramaphosa, because at the end of the day, also health is also very important.
Because I also understand where he's stuck, because the economies need to also open.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, people might die, or some are going to die.
Yeah.
It's sad to say so. And with the smaller companies, I think the issue there would be, like regulating them. Some of these sanitizers, we're not even sure if they're really 70% alcohol. There's myths that people are just using bleach or methylated spirits in some of them. So yeah, it becomes a slippery slope. So and on the other hand, in terms of, let's say if somebody, I think it was a discussion they had, if somebody were to fall sick, for example, at work, and then this person was found out that they tested positive for COVID-19. So who would this fall on if this person died?
The government.
Is it the government? Is it the employer? Yeah, so in terms of these discussions they had was that they would have to look at it in terms of what the business did before letting the employees back. So there needs to be like things like risk assessments that needed to be done in terms of health reports of all individual employees.
Yeah.
So in terms of your diabetes people, like we need to know who has diabetes. We can't just say who said, take it on face value. So
I think also, in my opinion, I'll just say that if you have a business and you want to go back, you want people to go back to your obviously company to start working, not from home but like from the actual premises, I'd say like just do your thorough research, because they're like thin lines and regulations keep changing. So just make sure that you are updated on like the current news around COVID-19 and what kind of regulations and measures need to be taken and be put in place, just to make sure that you are on the safe side.
And yeah, I think in terms of that one, I think we could wrap it up there. So in terms of the other headlines on the news was that basically people are concerned about, I'm not sure if you remember the 500 billion rand that Ramaphosa announced a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, we do.
So people are complaining that this 500 million is not actually filtering down to the people on the ground. So there was a guy on the news article who went to a bank. So he went there with because he's facing like the hit of COVID-19, he went there with his partners to see if he could get some form of help in terms of from the bank. So what the
government... I can imagine a lot of people, it's what a lot of people are actually doing right now, especially hearing that there's 500 billion,
Yeah, exactly. So basically what the government then said here is that, okay, we'll be the bank's guarantee. So what a guarantee basically means in this instance is that if Paul goes to the bank and applies for a loan, if you were to default on the loan,
the bank becomes the surety.
Not the bank, the government becomes the surety. Okay. So that's how that one would work. So now in terms of when this guy got to the bank was so what they asked the person was like, okay, how long have you been in the business? What do you do? Give us evidence that COVID-19 affected. So he gave them all those evidence. So now here was the catch. So after all that was being said, the bank then eventually said, okay, for us to approve you the final stages, you need to give us some form of surety. So please put down your personal belongings. So if you have a house, if you have a car, put it down as surety. If you were to default, if you were to default, then we would take your house.
Who do you think is in the wrong there? Did the government give wrong information to people, or was the bank just wanting the person's house or asset as surety?
You know, in terms of this one, I think it was a breakdown of communication. And you know, banks right now, we mustn't forget, they're also running a business, so they would also want to protect themselves in a way. But the reassurance from the government in terms of if people were to default, were there for them. That was supposed to be enough for them. They weren't supposed to put underlying traditional, measures that are in place. So in terms of this one, I think it was supposed to be scrapped. So now in terms of when these people contested this and like, no, you can't do this, it's tough times. Are you telling me if my business doesn't succeed, I'm also going to be homeless in this COVID-19? Yeah, so I think in the end, the bank was in the wrong in terms of that. So now they pushing, the government told us to do this, and so it's a back and forth there. So clarity hasn't actually arisen there. So I think in today's news or this week's events, I think those were the two things that stood out for us. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We hope that you have learned a lot. Do come back again for upcoming videos. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions related to business or any other questions, really, just send us a WhatsApp text or WhatsApp voice note on the number that's appearing on the screen. Till we see you again.
Bye, guys.